What if staying silent could be your greatest advantage in a noisy world? Most people seek applause. What if true power is found in restraint? You don't need to outtalk others to outsmart them. You only need one quiet move at a time. In this video, we'll explore how to outsmart anyone, quietly, strategically, and without a single drop of stress. The Stoics didn't chase status. They built power from within. And now, it's your turn to do the same. Have you ever wondered why the loudest voice rarely holds the deepest power? In a world desperate for attention, the rare soul who moves in intentional silence that sharpens awareness, who acts with daily inner discipline that no one sees but everyone eventually feels, and clarity becomes unstoppable. The Stoics knew this true mastery isn't about conquering others. It's about conquering yourself. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. Today, we'll explore how to rise above noise and embody a focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distraction's strength that outlasts and outshines. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn may change the way you walk through the world. Number 1, observe more than you speak. Let's talk about one of the focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distractions, yet most powerful advantages you can ever develop. The daily inner discipline that no one sees but everyone eventually feels to observe more than you speak. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. In a world obsessed with proving itself, the Stoic knows better. He understands that real power isn't found in how loudly you speak, but in how deeply you see. While others rush to display their knowledge, eager for external approval that often distracts from real progress and applause, the Stoic remains still, watching, listening, learning, and in that stillness he sees what the noisy fail to notice. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence, even in your absence. In any room, in any gathering, the one who observes with clarity, who speaks with precision, who holds their words like a sword, not to be drawn unless necessary, that is the one who holds the true influence. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is a weapon. It grants you clarity because it removes the need to impress. When you are not speaking to prove yourself, you are free to truly understand others. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. You notice their motives hidden beneath their words. You see their fears tucked inside their ambitions. Most people speak to be understood. They fill the air with explanations, justifications, declarations, all in an attempt to shape how others perceive them. But the Stoic listens to understand. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. To understand reality, not appearances, to understand the soul behind the mask. And in doing so, he earns a kind of invisible advantage, because people, when they speak, reveal much more than they realize. Their hopes, their insecurities, their blind spots. They lay them all bare for the one patient enough to watch and wait. Speak only when your words improve upon the intentional silence that sharpens awareness, not out of fear, but out of strength. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. Your intentional silence that sharpens awareness will often be mistaken for wisdom. And in time, it will become exactly that. Not because you are hiding your ignorance, but because you have learned the value of timing, of restraint, of measured expression. Imagine walking into a business meeting where everyone is eager to pitch their ideas, to dominate the room, to be seen as the smartest person there. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. One man sits focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away, distractionsly attentive, but not desperate to speak. He listens carefully to what is said and even more carefully to what is not said. He notices the alliances forming, the subtle hesitations in certain voices, the emotional undercurrents shaping the conversation, and when he finally speaks, he does so with precision, addressing not just what was spoken, but the truth beneath it. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence, even in your absence. That man will leave the room with more power than the loudest voice ever could. Not because he forced his presence, but because he mastered his attention. This is the art of observation, and it's not passive. It's not about sitting focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distractionsly and zoning out. It's about actively seeing, actively listening, actively reading the world around you without the need to insert yourself into every moment. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence, even in your absence. It's a skill that, once cultivated, transforms the way you move through life. When you observe more than you speak, you become a mystery to others. They don't know what you're thinking. They can't predict your moves. They can't use your words against you because you haven't carelessly handed them ammunition. You maintain strategic depth. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. And in a world obsessed with exposure, the man who knows how to remain partially hidden becomes a rare and formidable force. But observation does more than protect you from others. It also sharpens your understanding of yourself. When you are no longer scrambling to be heard, you have the space to reflect, to question your assumptions, to correct your course before the world ever sees your missteps. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. Silence doesn't just give you power over others, it gives you power over yourself. In every conversation, every encounter, ask yourself, what is truly being said here? What is motivating this person? Where is the truth hiding beneath the noise? Develop the patience to sit with questions instead of rushing toward easy answers. Develop the daily inner discipline that no one sees but everyone eventually feels to endure the discomfort of intentional silence that sharpens awareness instead of filling it with needless chatter. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. Over time, you will notice a profound shift. You will no longer feel the frantic need to prove yourself. You will no longer feel pulled into the drama of every situation. You will no longer speak from a place of insecurity, but from a place of clarity when necessary and with devastating precision. At the end of the day, those who observe more than they speak don't just navigate the world more effectively. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. They move through it like silent architects shaping outcomes, not through noise, but through deep, unshakable understanding. Number 2, let action be your voice. Let's talk about one of the most underrated but profoundly stoic ways to outsmart the world. Silently letting your deliberate actions rooted in clarity, not chaos, do the talking. In a society obsessed with announcements, declarations, and endless self-promotion, the true Stoic understands a simple truth. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. The loudest voice in the room rarely holds the most power. True influence is silent. True mastery does not need applause. It needs no external approval. That often distracts from real progress. Seneca captured it perfectly when he said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Words are cheap, promises are fleeting. What endures is action." The Stoic does not waste energy proclaiming what he will achieve or how hard he is working. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. He simply works. He moves focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distractionsly, relentlessly, like a river carving stone over centuries, not with noise, but with persistence. Where others make noise to gain applause, the Stoic wins in intentional silence that sharpens awareness and lets the results speak volumes louder than any self-promotion ever could. There is an old saying, wolves don't need to announce their presence. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. Their presence is felt, not heard. Their power is known, not declared. Likewise, when you move through the world focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distractionsly, building your life, strengthening your character, sharpening your skills, you don't need to tell anyone what you're becoming. Your excellence will announce you. Your daily inner discipline that no one sees but everyone eventually feels will leave a trail. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. Your results will arrive before your words ever need to. But let's be clear, this isn't about hiding. It's about building something so real, so undeniable that when it appears, no introduction is necessary. Set your goals silently, chase them daily. Sharpen your craft when no one is watching. Not because you seek a round of applause, but because mastery itself is the reward. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. The Stoic works in the dark to prepare for a future he never brags about, because he knows the future will reveal everything he has built in private. Think about a real-world example. Imagine two people starting their fitness journey. The first loudly proclaims every goal, posting daily updates, announcing every minor milestone, needing the world's external approval that often distracts from real progress to stay motivated. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence. The second says nothing. He simply shows up at the gym every day. No fanfare, no announcements. Months later, when the results appear, who commands focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away? Distractions respect? The one who let his transformation do the talking, not because he begged for it, but because the evidence became undeniable. This principle holds true everywhere in careers, in relationships, in personal battles. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence, even in your absence. It is tempting to tell others what we are planning, to explain our vision, to seek encouragement when the path feels lonely. But every time you speak prematurely, you give away a piece of your power. You invite expectations. You waste energy on appearances instead of substance. The Stoic knows protect your energy. Work in intentional silence that sharpens awareness. Let your success, or even your silent endurance, be the only voice you need. It's about consistency. Quiet, daily consistency. No grand gestures, no dramatic proclamations. Just day after day after day of daily inner discipline that no one sees, but everyone eventually feels action. This is what truly scares people. Not the one who talks loudly about their ambitions, but the one who simply keeps showing up, moving forward, improving silently without ever needing to explain. The beauty of this approach is not just in how it affects others, it's how it transforms you. When you commit to silent work, you remove the need for external approval that often distracts from real progress. You are no longer driven by approval or applause. You become immune to the opinions of others. Your reward is intrinsic. The satisfaction of knowing that you honored your potential even when no one else was clapping. The Stoics understood that the ultimate victory is not to convince others of your greatness, but to master yourself so completely that no external recognition is necessary. Your life becomes the argument. Your daily inner discipline that no one sees but everyone eventually feels becomes the proof. Your peace becomes the announcement. I once met a craftsman, an old carpenter, who embodied this perfectly. While others, in his field, marketed themselves with flashy promises, he simply built year after year, project after project. He perfected his craft. His reputation grew not because he shouted, but because every table, every chair, every beam he touched whispered of excellence. People traveled from far away just to have something made by his hands. When asked about his success, he would simply smile and say, "Good work needs no advertisement." That right there is Stoicism in practice. So set your goals focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distractionsly. Work on them ruthlessly. Move forward without announcing your every step. When you achieve, let others wonder how you did it. Let them realize that while they were busy talking, you were busy building. While they sought attention, you sought mastery. And even if no one notices at first, even if the applause never comes, you will have gained something far greater than recognition. You will have gained self-respect, inner peace, a strength that is not dependent on anyone's opinion, but built on the solid rock of your own consistent effort. At the end of the day, real power doesn't shout. It moves silently, leaves a deep mark, and lets the results do all the speaking. Number 3, master detachment. Let's talk about one of the most misunderstood yet devastatingly effective strategies for mastering not just others, but yourself. The weapon of emotional detachment. In a world where almost everyone is chained to outcomes, to winning, to being liked, to receiving external approval that often distracts from real progress, the Stoic walks a different path. The Stoic moves through life with a secret advantage, the refusal to be enslaved by what he cannot control. His power lies not in manipulating the outside world, but in mastering his own mind. At the heart of this philosophy is the concept of amor fati, to love fate, not to merely endure what happens, but to embrace it fully as if it were chosen. To see victory and defeat, gain and loss, praise and criticism, not as separate realities to be chased or avoided, but as equal threads in the fabric of life. The Stoic knows real freedom is not getting what you want, it's not needing it. Most people are easy to manipulate because they are desperate for something, desperate for approval, desperate for recognition, desperate to be seen, loved, praised, and so they become predictable. When they are insulted, they feel the need to defend themselves. When they are challenged, they feel the urge to prove something. When they are praised, they become addicted to more praise. Their emotions are like leaves in the wind, tossed wherever fortune blows. But the Stoic stands firm. He understands that outcomes are external, while effort, character, and virtue are internal. And only the internal deserves his loyalty. Every day he reflects what is within my control. Only my mind, my effort, my attitude, everything else, fortune, reputation, the opinions of others is not mine to own, and therefore not mine to fear losing. Imagine for a moment 2 warriors preparing for battle. One obsesses over victory. He cannot imagine losing. His mind is filled with fear, tension, attachment to the outcome. If he wins, he feels validated. If he loses, he is shattered. The other, warrior, however, focuses solely on the preparation, the daily inner discipline that no one sees but everyone eventually feels, the courage to show up and fight with honor. His peace does not depend on the battle's outcome. And because of that, he moves freely, without fear. Which one do you think fights with greater clarity and power? Always the one who is detached. This principle doesn't just apply to battlefields. It applies to everyday life. A student who studies only to impress others will crumble when faced with failure. A leader who seeks applause will be destroyed by criticism. A lover who clings to their partner out of fear will drive them away. The tighter you grip outcomes, the more fragile you become. But the one who moves through life unattached, not careless, but free, becomes untouchable. I once knew a young entrepreneur who embodied this principle brilliantly, while his peers obsessed over funding, approval, market external approval that often distracts from real progress. He remained stoically focused on creating something valuable, regardless of how long it took or who noticed. Some years he failed, some years he succeeded, but through it all, his emotional state remained steady. Investors respected him, customers trusted him, competitors feared him. Not because he chased external approval that often distracts from real progress, but because he didn't need it. His indifference to outcomes made him dangerous in the best possible way. Detachment is not about giving up. It's about giving your best effort while surrendering the results. It's about caring deeply about your virtues, your daily inner discipline that no one sees but everyone eventually feels, your courage, your kindness, but not caring about the applause or the trophies that may or may not come afterward. This mindset turns every hardship into training, every insult into a chance to practice patience, every failure into a sharpening of the soul. So how do you cultivate this weapon? You train yourself daily to distinguish between what is yours and what is not. Your deliberate actions rooted in clarity, not chaos yours. Your intentions yours. Other people's redeliberate actions rooted in clarity, not chaos, not yours. The results of your honest efforts, not yours. Reflect each night. Did I live by my values today, regardless of outcomes? If so, I have won. When insulted, do not retaliate. Your indifference confuses the petty and empowers the wise. When challenged, do not defend your ego, defend only your principles, and when praised, accept it with humility, but do not let it feed your identity. You are not your successes any more than you are your failures. You are your effort. You are your character. To truly outsmart those who are ruled by their egos, you simply have to not need what they need. When they chase approval, you remain unmoved. When they fear failure, you embrace every outcome. When they cling desperately to their fragile self-image, you let yours dissolve into the clarity of simple being. Detachment grants you a calmness that rattles those who cannot understand it. It gives you clarity while others are blinded by emotion. It gives you power while others are drained by their endless need for external approval that often distracts from real progress. It allows you to live fully, not on the condition that you win, but on the commitment that you play the game with honor, courage, and grace. At the end of the day, the one who expects nothing, fears nothing, and needs nothing cannot be outsmarted because he has already won where it matters most within himself. Number 4, build an unshakable character. Let's talk about the final, most silent and most devastating way to outsmart the world. Building a character so steady, so resilient, so rooted in virtue that nothing, no attack, no betrayal, no misfortune can break it. In a world that bends easily under pressure, that shifts loyalties for convenience, that crumbles at the first sign of hardship, the man of unshakable character stands like a mountain, silent, immovable, enduring. To truly outsmart everyone without, stress is not merely to master tactics or strategies. It is to master yourself so deeply that your very existence becomes a focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distraction's form of resistance against chaos. And that mastery is not built in moments of applause. It is forged alone in the unseen hours through daily inner discipline that no one sees, but everyone eventually feels, no one claps for, and no one celebrates. The Stoics understood that character is revealed not in moments of ease, but in the crucible of crisis, loss, and solitude. When things fall apart, when the lights go out, when the world turns its back, that's when you meet your true self. And if you have built yourself right, you won't need to scramble to pretend or to grasp for strength. You will already be strong. Building this kind of character doesn't happen by accident. It requires deliberate daily practice. It means choosing habits that strengthen the mind and soul, reading the wisdom of those who came before you, journaling to sharpen your self-awareness, reflecting on your deliberate actions rooted in clarity, not chaos without excuses, surrounding yourself with intentional silence that sharpens awareness to hear your own soul more clearly. It means embracing solitude not as loneliness, but as training ground for independence. It means holding yourself to a higher standard than the world demands. Not because you seek reward, but because you refuse to lower your spirit to mediocrity. The world asks for very little from you. Show up, follow trends, seek pleasure, avoid discomfort. The Stoic asks something radically different. Discipline yourself. Cultivate wisdom. Practice courage. Live with justice. Endure hardship with grace. Aim not to be praised, but to be worthy of your own respect. And here's the paradox. When you live this way silently, persistently, consistently, people will notice. They won't always understand it. Some will admire you, some will resent you, but all will feel it. They will ask themselves, how is he so calm when everything is falling apart? How does he stay composed when others lose themselves? How does he move forward so steadily while others collapse under their emotions? You won't need to explain. You won't need to justify. Your presence will be your answer. Stoic wisdom never needs to announce itself. It reveals itself focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distractionsly, unmistakably through the life you live. Think of someone like a seasoned sailor navigating a violent storm. While others panic, he remains focused, steady, clear. He cannot control the waves or the winds, but he can control the sails, the rudder, his own mind. His survival depends not on changing the storm, but on mastering himself within it. That is life. That is Stoic character. I once met a man who embodied this principle without ever saying much about it. He had faced enormous hardships, loss of business, betrayal by friends, serious illness. Yet he never once allowed bitterness or despair to take root in him. Every morning he rose early. He read philosophy. He wrote down his intentions for the day. He treated everyone with respect, even those who wronged him. When asked about his difficulties, he would simply say, "Life trains those it loves." No dramatics, no self-pity, just steady, enduring strength. Over time, even those who had mocked him came to admire him, not because he sought their admiration, but because character eventually commands respect without needing to demand it. If you want to outsmart everyone without stress, build such a character not for applause, not for recognition, but because it is the only foundation that will not crack when life tests you, and life will test you. This journey is not glamorous. It is often lonely. It demands that you walk away from the noise, from the cheap external approval that often distracts from real progress, from the easy shortcuts. It demands that you become your own harshest critic and your own greatest ally. It demands that you work focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distractionsly in the dark, trusting that the light will reveal what you built when no one was watching. Every book you read when you could have wasted time. Every moment of reflection when others chose distraction. Every act of integrity when no one was looking. Every time you chose to respond with patience instead of anger, with perseverance instead of surrender, you were laying another stone in the fortress of your character. And in time, you will find that you no longer have to force anything. Your daily inner discipline that no one sees but everyone eventually feels. Your peace, your resilience. They will become visible in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you endure. You will outlast the boastful, the frantic, the shallow. Because while they were chasing illusions, you were becoming something real. At the end of the day, the strongest move you can make in a chaotic world is to become a man of such unshakable character that nothing, not praise, not insult, not victory, not loss, can move you from who you are. Remember this: you don't need to be the loudest in the room to be the strongest. True mastery isn't measured by how much attention you command, but by how little you need it. In a world that begs for noise, approval, and applause, you rise above simply by mastering yourself, your mind, your deliberate actions rooted in clarity, not chaos, your spirit. The Stoics taught us that the greatest victories happen within, far from the eyes of the crowd. Outsmarting everyone silently isn't about deception. It's about living with such daily inner discipline that no one sees but everyone eventually feels. Patience and focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distraction's strength that the world has no choice but to adjust around you. It's about choosing restraint over reaction, focus over distraction, virtue over vanity. And when you live this way, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing influence, and it begins to flow naturally through who you are. You don't need to prove anything. Let your work, your consistency, your peace be your voice. Let every silent step you take toward wisdom and mastery leave a trail that speaks louder than words ever could. Your presence will one day say what your pride never needed to. If this message speaks to you, if you feel called to continue walking this rare path of silent strength, consider subscribing to stay connected, not to chase noise, but to build the focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distractions, power that changes everything. And if you're with me on this journey, comment below, quiet power. I would love to know who stands focused and quiet, like a sculptor chiseling away distractionsly among us. Stay steady, stay unseen. Your silent strength is building something unstoppable. And in the next video, we'll go even deeper into the Stoic strategies that shape a life no storm can shake. The more you embrace this mindset, the more others will feel your presence even in your absence.